Alright, so today we are going to be working with transitions and a little bit of transform. So here again I have my basic setup, HTML setup, and in my body I already have a div that is ID box, that has an ID of box. In my CSS I already have this set up as well. I have my ID of box. And then I have a simple width of 100, a simple height of 100, background color, a simple blue, and a solid border. So right now, after you take the time to set that up, you should have something like this, a basic, simple block or box. So our objective is to turn that blue box into a red box when we hover over it, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add the pseudo class box colon hover, okay? So right here we just took our element's ID, and then added a colon and hover. Again, this is going to be a pseudo class, so anytime the user hovers over this element, these effects are going to take place. So let's start with a simple effect. Background color red. So this is saying this box that we have, this blue box, when we hover over it, it's just going to change to a background color of red, okay? So let's go up here. When we hover, it should turn red. Boom. Boom. Okay? Drastically turns red. So I want to go ahead and add a transition to that so it's not just boom red. Okay? So how we do that is we're just going to go back to our box and we're going to add transition. Transition is just specifying the duration it's going to take to get from our original box to our hover box and turning it red. So let's go ahead and add a transition of 3 seconds. Again, it's going to take 3 seconds to get from this state to this state. So when I hover over, it should take 3 seconds to turn to a red. Okay? When we're not hovering over, the transition takes 3 seconds as well. Boom. Okay? Now, say we want to add another, let's go ahead and take this off first. Okay? So we want to go ahead and add another let's just see, transform. Alright, so we're going to add transform to the hover function, okay? So when we hover over, it's going to transform this and it's going to rotate. Okay. Now in the last videos we did a transform and we did a translate. When we put the translate X or translate Y, if you remember, that's going to specify where on the Y or the X axis or the Y axis is going to move. So if we were to put translate X 500px, right, that will translate it from this original position to here, right? Or if it was translate Y, it would come from this position to here. But right now, instead of translating, instead of moving it along the X axis or the Y axis, we're just going to rotate it. We're going to rotate it 45 degrees. Okay, again, transforming is just kind of the position of where it is. Okay, so let's go over here again. It's going to, when we hover over it, it is going to turn red and it's going to rotate that 45 degrees. Again, drastically, no transition. If we wanted to add that transition and make it smooth, yep, we go back up here and add a transition of 3 seconds. So it's going to take 3 seconds to turn red, and it's going to also take 3 seconds to make that rotation. So just putting 3 seconds is going to apply that transition to all the transformations that you have. Again, slowly to red and slowly turning 45 degrees. Now, say you want it to turn 45 degrees immediately, but still take its time when it's turning to the red. You can separate that with the description, the duration, commas. Description, duration, comma. So let's go up here and let's say I want to have my background color take, let's say I want that to take 3 seconds, right? But I want my rotation to be immediate. So my background color 3 seconds, comma. My transform, I'm going to have, transform, I'm going to have, let's say, 1 second. So again, it should rotate in 1 second, but still take 3 seconds. Background color 3 seconds for the transition, separated by the comma. My transform is going to take 1 second, okay? Transform is going to take 1 second, but that color still took 3, okay? And you can add another one. So let's go ahead and separate it. Let's see, let's go ahead and change our border, okay? So down here, when I hover over it, I want my border radius to be a little rounded. So let's say, I don't want to be a complete circle. You know what? Forget it. Let's turn it into a complete circle. All right. So we have our background color is going to take 3 seconds. Our rotation is going to take 1 second. And let's say our border radius, let's just for demonstrative purposes, let's go ahead and make that 5 seconds, okay? So border radius is going to take 5 seconds. So our degree, our rotation is going to go almost immediate compared to the other ones. Color should be slow, and our radius, turning it into a circle, should be slowest. Go ahead and make sure I save. And then we're going to, and you see it took a sweet time to turn that into a nice little circle. So again, you can specify for each one how long you want it to be. You want that background color to take 3 seconds to turn into red. You want it to be 3 seconds. Then comma, transform 1 second, comma, I want it to take a sweet time to turn into a circle, 5 seconds. And you can just keep adding those. Just remember to separate it by a comma, and then you're still going to end with a semicolon. Okay? Now, I wanted to also mess around a little bit with our transforms and our rotates. Okay? So, let's say I'm going to turn that into itself. And instead of just a regular rotate of going around based off of a center point, we're going to have it flip on itself. So let's start with the x-axis first. Okay, so especially with this transformer, we're going to be able to see it flip on its axis. When we hover, this rotate x is going to flip on its x-axis. Okay, let me demonstrate that. You see that? And then turn it to the y axis, is, you already know, it's gonna flip the other way. Boom, boom. Okay, now we still have our other effects going on with the red. So if I were just to stay on there, okay, So you can go ahead and play with that, playing with your transforms, play with your transitions, manipulating your durations for each individual separated by a comma. Okay? All right. Thanks for watching.